in spite of us not knowing, actionable steps, we don't have like a step by step, this is what we need to do in order to, to get to retire my parents. But the fact that we were actually taking action somehow, some way, I think you'll stumble upon it.
How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Driven. In today's episode, we're going to be discussing goal setting in business and in life.
Yeah. And so for those that don't know us, my name is Juan. This is my brother Alexis. And together in 2019, we started a business that is currently at a run rate of over $3 million a year. And so at least up to that point, I feel like we have a good understanding of what we're talking about.
Yep. And going back to the topic, I know that it's going to be goal setting, both personal and business or professional, whatever. I think up to and this is me talking about myself, but I think up to now, recently, I think for me, goal setting it was more of like a feeling. It was more of a want. I have certain goals. It'll be nice if I, hit them. It'll be nice if I achieve these certain goals. Which I think one of the first goals was in the beginning of when we were in high school. It started with fitness. At least for me, it started with fitness. Like some of the first initial goals. Like, I want to be freaking lean.
Yeah.
And I was able to hit those goals.
Yeah.
And I think it's because I had a clear plan of, okay, I want to, maybe right now I'm like through that time I was freaking lean. I was freaking skinny. Oh. So I think at my highest I weighed 140 something.
Okay.
And then I dropped down to like 135.
Okay.
In high school. So 10 pounds. But those 10 pounds made a big difference in high school. And I remember I'm like, I want to be freaking lean. And I achieved that goal. But I think at the time it was because I was really into it. I started doing research. I started looking into videos. I started doing my diet. And then I stuck to my diet. Yeah. And that's how I achieved my goals.
Yeah. And I was just going to say that I know that a lot of YouTubers like Matt Ogis, Chris Jones, Hodge Twins, Elliot Holtz, all these people that we also watched that kind of also inspired us,
100%. So it was more of motivation. It was more of like, damn, these guys are freaking lean. They're where I want to be at, or they're where I want to get to, or somewhere close. And at least for me, it was like, all right, I had nothing else to do. I was in I was in high school. What am I gonna do? My homework? Yeah. So it was more of like, I have time, I have the energy, because at the time we were also playing soccer. Yeah. So I think it just lined up. I know as we got older, more of the goal settings, like people had, and this is me of watching videos here and there on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube, of like people wanting to become millionaires. So they had these goals, right? But I noticed that a lot of people weren't hitting their goals. They were just like, I want to become a millionaire by so-and-so age. I want to become a millionaire by, this. I want to have this business. I want to have private jets. I want to have a Lamborghini, a Ferrari, this and that. And so that's one of the things that I started looking at. And, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, man, are goals just goals? Or like, how can you actually achieve goals? Because let's just say I want to start a business and whatever it is. And one of my goals is to make my first $100,000, to make my first $1 million dollars in sales in a year. Yeah. Me, without knowing what I know now, I would be like, damn, how do I achieve that goal?
Because we did have goals also back then, like become a millionaire by 25 or 24. And so we do goals, but like I know one of the things that you said that is actually very true, especially like looking at, in hindsight, I think it's very like, we have goals, I think it's good to set goals. I don't think it's good to set goals, but then have, like how you mentioned, actionable steps behind them. Because I know like when we were working out, it's just one example that I remember. When working out, I know we had goals. I know we wanted to we had numbers that we wanted to hit, and then so we had that. But at the same time, we were actually going to the gym, and we were very tracking like all the weights, the reps, the time. We were tracking that, and that was the strongest that we ever got. I think even stronger than now. And so it was goals, having goals, but at the same time, like how you mentioned, actionable steps.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I'm starting to realize now is that, yes, like how I mentioned before, like I was thinking to myself, like I think goals are just something fun to say or something good to reach for, or something good to have. But now I know that goals are important, but then the way you're going to reach your goals and not just think about it or want them or dream them is by having actionable steps. So to break it down, like how you mentioned with fitness, like I want to lose weight. Okay, that's my goal. I want to lose 40 pounds. How do I start? Well, I need to learn how to control the way I eat. So maybe I need to have a diet. So that's one. I need to start exercising. Okay, I have that. So let's just say I have two main things, which is diet and exercise. Okay, so let's start with the exercise first. So do I want to do cardio? Do I want to focus on gaining muscle, or do I want to do both at the same time? Let's just say I want to do both. Okay, now I have to schedule out my days Monday through, or 7 days a week. Am I going to be working out this muscle, this muscle, this muscle? What days are going to be for cardio? So it's just breaking it down into like smaller goals. Okay, so now I want to do cardio. How much time do I have to run to be able to lose X amount of calories or X amount of weight? So you just break it down to the nitty gritty. So now it's kind of like you're checking off a checkbox. And okay, now for the diet side. Okay, I don't know how to do my diet, so I got to do research. That's my first thing. Now that I watch a bunch of videos, all right, now I have to do my own diet plan based on this. All right, so now that I have my diet plan, I have to go buy groceries, and then I have to cook. So it's just breaking them down. And that's how, technically, or not technically, but that's pretty much how I'm starting to break down the goals for within the company, within the business, within the department which is media. It's like, I know there's different things that we need to hit. It's just, all right, we need to do a to-do list. So I guess for me, the way I think about it is start backwards. Start with the end in mind. If we want to hit these numbers, okay, what do we have to do to be able to hit these numbers? Okay, and then once I figure out the second to last step, let's go one step below, and then one step below, and one step below, and then just create every step, and then just, it's like if you're hitting off a checkbox. So
it's kind of, well, it's a similar analogy to like a business. So for example, if you want to hit $1 million, so you start out with the goal at the end in mind, right? That's the example, right? So how do you get a cell? Pretty much just like, how many cells do you need? Like, let's say you need 1,000 cells. And so in order to get those 1,000 cells, how many phone calls, let's say let's just say phone calls you need to make 100,000. Okay, there's 100,000 that you need to make. These are just random examples. And so in order to make 100,000 phone calls, how many do you need to make a day? And so it's pretty much like that, breaking it down, right? Like the end in mind, and then just breaking it until every day you know exactly what you need to do in order to get that $1 million in sales. Like that.
That's how. That's very simplified, because I kind of heard, or I saw a picture of that like a while ago, but now it's, again, I think you mentioned it in the previous podcast, but now it's not until you experience it that it sticks. Because like you can have, I think you can achieve any goal you set yourself towards having. It's just you got to have actionable steps. What are the steps I need to do in order for me to take this? Because again, before, I think it was just like, damn, it'll be nice to have $1 million, $1 million business. But then it's like, okay, I don't know what to do. I'm not doing anything to work towards that $1 million. But if you just break it down, step by step, have actionable plans. Okay, if you want to start $1 million company, or even $100,000 company, first you have to figure out, what product, and then you have to figure out the price points, and then you have to figure out like the volume and everything else. So it's more having that.
But in essence, it's pretty much just like that, right? That's what you're talking about, like end in mind, and then just breaking it down.
Is there any goals on your end that you're doing currently, or you have done before, where you just like, maybe it was a goal that was out of your reach that you have been able to hit?
Out of my reach?
Or maybe not even out of your reach, any goal.
I know finishing the marathon.
But that was kind of just by force. It was just like pushing towards it.
The other one, like retiring our parents, or my mom specifically.
And that's the thing. I don't think we knew how to get there. We didn't know like the exact path. It was just, I know our goal was to retire our parents, and we did everything. We tried everything. We tried side hustle after side hustle, sales. We got into life insurance.
And so I guess the key there is that, in spite of us not knowing, actionable steps, we don't have like a step by step. This is what we need to do in order to, to get to retire my parents. But the fact that we were actually taking action, somehow, some way, I think you'll stumble upon it. That's how we stumble upon it. Like, that's what we were, that was our goal. We were going back and forth, up and down, everywhere. but the fact that we were actually doing stuff and actually like trying in whatever way possible, I think the actions were the things that eventually led us to be able to, you know, to do that. I think that's one of the things, because I know like back then, like you know, in insurance, like I want to make $1 million. I want to be a millionaire by 25. That was a goal, and obviously breaking it down, it's easy, right? But it was the actions, what was needed in order to reach that I think I was lacking or needed. And so yeah, I think it's good to have goals, and you know, that's just off the top of my head. It's good to have goals and whatnot, but I think in order to reach those, actions are the things that is needed, and just as simplistic and off the top of my head.
Just actions in general.
Actions, and obviously if you know like actionable steps, if you know exactly what to do, like if you, this is exactly what you need to do in order to get to these goals, then that's even better. Because also knowing what to do but not doing it, it's like you never hit your goals. Like, you know, some people online.
Yeah, that's true. No, that's true. Which that's why I think they're actionable steps. Action, like for you to take action.
Yeah.
But I agree, cause like I guess how you mentioned, there's some people online like, oh, I know how to become a millionaire, or I know how to grow $1 million company. Then, and, you know, in my head, I'm like, why don't you do it then?
Yeah. Yep.
And not in a bad way or anything. Is because I know like it's the same people that become business influencers, business gurus that try to sell people courses, and I think that's where I have my itch. And like I have an itch, and like, dude, what the fuck? Like, you're preaching about certain topics, I'm going off topic, but you're preaching about certain topics, certain businesses which you haven't even gone through, and you're like, well, if I wanted to, I could, but you still don't.
Yeah. So goals and action.
Yeah.
Actionable steps.
Yeah. Because I think goals in general are good, because that's how we learned in the beginning. Yeah. Remember, we had top 10 reasons. That's how we like originally learned top 10 reasons. Like, but I think it's, you know, past those top 10 reasons, I think you only need like 1 or 2. And that becomes your mission. For us, it was retiring our parents. Now it's continue to keep providing for our family. Yeah.
And then also, like, I know, like, as the more people we hired, as the more people we're working with, like, I know that I know helping them grow, at least for me, is something that I find fulfilling a lot. I find fulfilling. And if we could get them, like, you know, helping, not just them, but also that, you know, going back to where we used to live in South LA, just watching, you know, on TikTok, watching a lot of like, you know, homelessness and just like people, like old people having to sell, you know, kids, babies that are like, you know, struggling. It's like, at least hopefully some of the content that we, you know, throw out there, hopefully reaches people that have the same feeling and, you know, are able to do something. Because I know that at some point, and even now, even though it's not in a huge scale, I know we, to the best of our abilities, we try to, you know, give a hand. Back, I know that, you know, and currently, you know, we're giving or re-giving a hand to a few people. I know that we've given out loans. I know that, you know, people are staying at our places, you know, staying at our places in order to get back on their feet, or to get on their, or to, you know, just continue. And I know in the future we're probably going to do things at a bigger scale. And so that was just my, you know, like small rant, but you know.
Yeah, because it just goes to shows we still have goals. I think they're still important, which I guess what my thing is, just to clarify, it's the fact that people have all these goals, but nothing gets done. And the way to reach those goals is by, well, I think the simplest is to take action. Yeah. Once you're taking action, then you got to correct course and take those actionable steps. All right, now I'm taking action. I have all this experience. Now I know exactly I need to do step 1, step 2, step 3. And then as you get more experience, it's a lot easier to where like, all right, there's a new goal. Let's break it down. I'm in the flow or whatever. I don't need motivation to get started. So let's just check them off.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I guess just from us talking, when you do have a goal, it's kind of like how you said, actionable steps. The way I'm looking at it right now is like, you know, action and then like the step. I think in order to get to your goals faster, because it took us 10 years in order to get to, you know, our goals. But if you're able to have, you know, take action and then have like actually know how to get there, I think that's, you know, that's why I think you've heard that, or that, you know, take actionable steps, goals and actionable steps. So having both, I think it's perfect. Because for us, it was, we have a goal, but it was just action. We had no idea where we were going.
We had no plan.
But I think that gets you further than knowing what to do but not doing anything.
Yep.
Because, you know, we see people.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people call that book smart or brain smart.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just like, I mean, that's that. I mean, it's just from what we see, but from our experience, you know, us, we did have no direction, but we were just doing something always. You know, we were always doing something. There was really not a time where we were not doing anything. Yep. But if you have both, that's, I think you're gonna get to your goals. Yep. Like, inevitably. Yep. Worst case, you know, you just take action without knowing where you're going. Someday it's a very good chance you're still gonna get there, because you know, by doing, eventually you'll get there. But then the other one is knowing what to do but not doing anything at all. You're never gonna reach your goals.
Yep. I guess one of my questions is, how would people take action? Because I know, like, again, selling life insurance, I know we knew exactly, like, we need to make these calls, we need to reach out to these people, but it was very hard for us to do it. Yeah. And we didn't take action. So what are some of the ways people can take action? Like, let's just say I need to talk to people, I don't want to because I have tendencies of being reserved or tendencies of not wanting to talk to people. Yeah, looking back at it, I feel, and we've briefly touched up on this, but putting yourself in a situation where you are forced to, or where you have to, if that makes any sense. Because, like, back to life insurance, we went back home, my parents were there. Yeah. Like, we went back to the apartment. Yep. It wasn't up until the point of, like, forma, where we had rent, we had loan payments, we were forced to do something. Yep. And so I think in order to get that or take that action, I think, and especially if you're of the let's say type to, you know, like, let's say not take action, putting yourself in a situation where you're forced to, either you do or die. It really is how I'm seeing it right now. It's like do or die. If you put yourself, like, you have to, or you die. That's the thing. Like, put yourself in a situation where you have to, especially if you're the type that doesn't, you know, let's say usually take action. I think that's gonna force you. That is gonna force you. Yep. Because looking back at it, like, insurance, pretty much easy, know what to do. But we weren't in I wasn't in a situation where, like, I needed to, no matter what. I wanted to retire, and that was the thing. Like, wanted to, but it wasn't like, you know. Yeah. Die. Yep. Forma. Or, you know, our companies later where we actually had obligations, we needed to. I mean, granted, it could be that we evolved, you know, but it forced us. And I know a lot of people, stories, you know, online, that when people are pushed to a corner, you know, they have to, like, inevitably, they just have to. And so I think that's one of the things that people can do, is put yourself in a situation where you have to. It's either do or die. I think that's the easiest way, from the top of my head. Yeah. It might be terrible advice, but that's how I see it. It's kind of like the same analogy where, you know how people say they don't like chicken breast, or because it's very dry, but then you starve yourself enough, like, you don't eat it for a long time. Eventually, you're gonna like it. Yeah. You're gonna eat it because that's the only thing. And it's kind of the same thing in I guess goal setting or the profession or anything you want to do. It's kind of like how you said. It's like when the dog's chasing your ass, you're gonna be forced to run. Yeah. Yep. And so you're gonna get it done. Yep. And so I think that's the easiest way for someone to start taking action, is, especially if you haven't taken action for so long, it's just putting yourself in it. And okay, for me, I'm not saying to do that, because then, you know, putting myself in a situation where you have to. Yeah. That's the easiest way to take action. Because then you have to. There's no other option. Yeah. Yeah. And in some ways, you don't necessarily, like, deliberately. Oh, I was going to say you don't have to deliberately, like, spend all your money or whatever, or go out of money or quit your job or anything, you could just put your money away, like locked into a separate account, and then you don't have like.
Yeah.
That could be another way, but.
Yeah. Yep. That's pretty much it. Do you have anything outside?
No, just with goal settings, I guess the goals are good. But just having goals and not doing anything is not good, because that's also like you're wanting it, but you're not going after it. So, but yeah, I guess going back, goals are good. The most important thing is action in the beginning, and then eventually just having a plan, actionable steps. So if you need to do this and this, if you want to reach your goals, just to sum it all up.
Yeah, pretty good. I don't have anything. You good? So with that being said, this has been another episode of Driven. My name is Juan.
My name is Alexis.
And we'll see you on the next one.